Guests at theme parks ask a lot of silly and even dumb questions. And the ones at Silver Dollar City, they weren't any exception to that rule. One of the most memorable parts of working at any theme park or amusement park is some of the silly, crazy, and dumb questions that you get asked by guests. And you're going to get a lot of them if you're working with the guests at all. Some of them are just downright hysterically funny when you actually think about what they're asking. And of course, Silver Dollar City had more than its share of them as well. And working on the train, we got some really funny ones. One of the things I loved working on the train at Silver Dollar City was, at least while we were there, we were almost encouraged to be a little bit on the snarky side and answer silly questions with silly answers and have some fun. It was kind of the atmosphere and the feeling of the train at the time, and it allowed us to play with the guests a little bit and have some fun when they would ask questions. That meant that if they asked a silly question, we probably had a silly answer that went along with it. And as long as we could tell that they were still smiling or not quite cluing in yet, we would just keep right on going. Now, if we saw that somebody was starting to get aggravated or not quite having the fun with it, well, then we would get a little bit more serious and actually answer it straight. But most of the time, once the guests caught on the way we were answering, they would start to laugh too. And we had some hysterically funny moments. And of course, they came with some hysterically funny questions and some really dumb questions as well. Here's a good sample of some of the ones we got, and yes, the real answers that I would give to them. Hey, excuse me, where's the train go? On the tracks. Where does this train go? In the woods. When does it get back? When it's done. When does it leave? When it's ready. What time's the next train? After it gets back. Excuse me, is this the train? No, this is the station. The train, it'll be right over there. How long is this train? 1 engine and 4 cars. Hey, does this train go upside down? Our train has 1 loop. It goes this way. No, I'm serious. Is that a real train? No, sir. It's all made of cardboard and metal, and we all just get on the train, make lots of noise, and pretend it's real. This was actually a real question I got on more than one occasion. And so, yeah, I had a little fun answering it. I remember one time I answered this, and the kids got the answer before Dad did, and they all started laughing, and then said, "Hey, Dad, we're going to make these noises," and just raised a huge commotion. It was pretty funny while Dad was just still standing there utterly clueless. What time does the next train leave? I don't know. They never even noticed that clock right behind me that I was pointing to and looking at. Didn't have a clue. We aren't going to get robbed on that train ride, are we? You mean they didn't rob you when you paid to get in? Maybe this is where the nickname Steal Your Dollar City came from. Are we going to get robbed on the train? Rob? Who's Rob? I don't know if he's on the train or not. How do you get on that train? Well, first you take 1 step on the train, then the other, then you sit down, and then you slide over. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Where's the Lost River? The Lost River? It's right over there. I'm still not sure why they call it the Lost River. I mean, it's just right over there. Maybe somebody found it. You think you're funny, don't you? Nope, I'm George. At least that's what my name tag says last time I checked. I was only asked that once by a guest who had started to get irritated, but that goofy response of mine, that broke them and they started laughing after that. Can you watch my kids while we go on the ride? No. That's why you're the parents and I'm not. Because they're all yours. Excuse me, How do you get out of this place? Well, you go right up the hill. Is there a way where I can go downhill instead of uphill? I'm afraid you're out of luck then, because the only way out of here is to go up. I'm still not exactly sure what to say to that. I don't even remember what I told them at that moment. Okay, if you're closed now, how can I know when the train will be running later? If you listen close, you might hear these really loud train whistles when it's going. That's usually a pretty good indicator that it's running. Do you have to buy a ticket to go on the train? Well, didn't you buy a ticket to get into the park already? That's the only ticket you need. As long as you got that, you can get on. But if you don't have that one, well, there's a bigger problem than whether you get on the train. That's not a real gun. That's just a toy, right? No, it's not a toy. It's a real 20 gauge shotgun. What do you mean? No. Really? That's a real gun? No. They wouldn't let them use real guns here, would they? I'd get that question all the time. Yes, it was a real 20 gauge shotgun. It wasn't a toy. It wasn't a prop. It wasn't a fake. And it was amazing to me how many people refused to believe it was a real gun. It was a real gun, folks. It was modified, so you couldn't just put a shotgun shell into it and fire. We did have a couple modifications, so it would only shoot what we wanted it to shoot. But even that now, well, now they've replaced it with either a 410 or a cap gun. That's kind of sad. Why are there so many hills in this park? Couldn't they just level it out some? Welcome to the Ozarks. This is why we call them the Ozark Mountains. Do you know when it's going to stop raining? Well, I talk to God a lot, and he tells me a lot of things. I really believe he speaks to me, but one thing he's never done is given me a weather report. Okay, but can't you do anything about the weather? I'm sorry, that's out of my department. I'll have to refer it to upper management. When did they move the cave? I could have sworn it used to be down the hill. Really? Well before my time here, and probably yours. It was honestly scary how often we got asked that question. Or similar ones, kind of like these. Is all of the cave underground? I do believe that's why it's called a cave. What would it be called if it was above ground? How long did it take to dig that cave out up there? You might have to ask God that one to be sure. All I know is it took a long time. I'm curious, how many miles of unexplored passages are there in the cave? Well, we sent a guy out a couple years back to try and find out for us, and, well, we're still waiting for him to return. Haven't seen or heard from him yet. And then at Christmas, we'd also hear a question like this one. That grandpa out in the woods, that wasn't a real person, was it? That was a robot, right? That's a good question. Are you a real person or are you a robot? The best part about all those was almost invariably somewhere along the way, the guests would realize the silliness of the question or the silliness of the answer, and you'd get a few moments of confusion, and then gradually it would catch on, light bulbs would go on, and they would start laughing. Guests had a great time with the ridiculousness of the conversations we would have sometimes, especially when it was other family members who caught on before the person asking the question. Oh, did that turn out to be some good razzing for them? We had a lot of fun with it, and I miss it. Even now, if I'm visiting Silver Dollar City, I still find myself popping out with some of the answers for them. Oh, yeah, I guess I can't hide that part of me. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this look at some of the goofy, silly questions that we got at Silver Dollar City, and especially on the train. Have you ever been caught asking a question like that, or listening to somebody else, or answering? I'd love to hear your stories as well. Please share them in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. If you enjoyed this, Also, please don't forget to hit that like button, give me a good thumbs up, share the video with your friends, especially if maybe there's some of those who ask some of those questions. Yeah, rub it in, rub it in. If you want to know more about me as well as my Facebook page, fan group, Reddit, Discord, gear I use, merchandise that you can buy, be sure to check the description below. There's a ton of information there. I also want to give a huge shout out to all my patrons for their financial support. They have blessed me in so many ways and helped me to do so much more than I could have otherwise. If you want to know more about Patreon and supporting me, be sure to check the link below or at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching too. I so appreciate it. Thanks again and God bless. I honestly don't remember what I can't remember what I'm saying now. Where'd my camera go? What did I just do with the camera? Need my prop. Okay. Dude, I actually look almost muscular. Okay. That's more like, I don't even know how to pose. Isn't that sad? Okay. It's sad when you think the funniest person in the world is yourself and nobody else does. Okay. Anyways. If you want to know whenever I have a new video out, well, hey, make sure you hit that button right there and subscribe. If you want to see another video right now, well, I've got a great one right here for you. And if you want to be like these wonderful people here and help support me financially on Patreon, well, check out that link right there and it'll take you to it. Thanks so much and God bless.